Hey guys, I just finished a video for DIY brow tint, so I hope you enjoy it, and if you try it at home, send me some pics.
Okay, so things you are going to need to do a DIY brow tint the way that I do this. So first of all, you will need, I use Just for Men mustache and beard dye. So I use the color light to medium brown, and I found that this works really well for me, and that's the kit that I'm going to use. You'll need some Vaseline or Aquaphor, something like that, some Q-tips. You will need something to mix your dyes on. Now it comes with a little plastic tray in the box, but I'm gonna use a paper plate today. And then I always have some cotton swabs ready, some damp cotton swabs, as well as some kind of a brush to apply the dye. So I really like this. This is a Real Techniques brow brush. I like an angled brush to do this so that I can do a really good job. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is create a barrier where I don't want dye to get onto my skin. So that's where the Vaseline is going to come in, and I'm going to use a Q-tip for this. So I'm going to get, again, you can use like Vaseline or Aquaphor, and I'm going to come in kind of close here. And for this, you really kind of need to have a decent idea of your brow shape. You don't want to get it in the hairs, and you want this to be, it can be a thick or a thin coat. We're just creating a barrier. And this is helpful with mistakes. And just in case you get the dye outside of the actual brow that you're creating. So it's always good to do your brow like tweezing or shaping before this. What's really cool is once you have that shape, you can get this brow tint going, and it makes it be has a really nice look, and it's super easy to do, and it makes your routine in the mornings go a little bit faster. So okay, so I've created my barrier with my Vaseline. So now what I need to do is mix up my brow color. So in your Just for Men kit, you get 2 tubes. One of them is the actual color base, that's this green tube, and the other one is the natural color developer. And what you need is a 50-50 mix of these. Now, what's nice is because they come in these resealable tubes, I kind of smush mine to get it mixed up in there, just in case it's getting like separated or watery or anything like that. You just basically can use just enough of what you might need. So like I'm just gonna put literally just like a little blob, okay? And then I'll put up, that's my color base, which looks a scary dark color, but it's really not too bad. And then I'm gonna take some developer, and I wanna do a blob that is similar in size. And once I have that, I mean, it's not too exact of a science, you're good there. So what I'll do from there is I will take my brush and mix those two together till I get a nice creamy color. And then what I'll do is actually pick some of this up on my brush, and I'll keep this plate handy here. And now I want to start filling in my brows. So what I want to do is get this right where my natural brow shape is. And I put mine on like relatively generously because I want it to have a nice filled in effect. And Just for Men beard and mustache dye is the only thing I've really used for this, because I find that it's just easy to get at like any drugstore or like supermarket that has hair dyes. I find that it is cheaper if you actually go to a physical like store and buy it than if you order it on Amazon. You can get it on Amazon, but a single box is more expensive than it is in the stores. Okay, and so what's really cool about this process is it only takes 5 minutes for this color to develop. Now you could use like a henna dye if you're really familiar with that. You could use a professional product if you have access to that. It's kind of up to you. Now you can also come in with a Q-tip in case you feel like you did kind of go outside of the lines of where you want to dye, because something you want to be aware of is when you initially dye this, it's going to dye the skin underneath as well as the actual hairs, okay? And so that is something to keep in mind, because if you do go outside of your lines, you'll notice that. Now notice I've applied mine, and This is how much I have left. So I mean, I even could have gone smaller on those blobs of dye, but they kind of come out a little fast. And so this kit will last you quite a few applications. Now, in my experience, I will say that I typically get about 3 to 4 weeks out of this. So I'm going to set my timer for 5 minutes, and then I'll come back and tell you a little bit more and show you what I do next. Okay, I'm back. So our 5 minutes are up, and you can see how the color has changed. It looks really dark, and the first time I did this, that was really scary. And so basically, what you want to do is remove the dye now, because it's already, you know, done what it needs to do. So this is where I take my wet cotton swabs, and I just go ahead and wipe that off. I kind of go in both directions to make sure that I'm removing all the dye, so that it comes off of the skin and the hairs, so that I'm not just letting that sit like that. And there we go. Basically, a couple of things while I was waiting for the 5 minutes to be up. I washed my brush. You don't want your brush to have that dye dry in it, because that'll ruin your brush. But I wash this like while I'm waiting for the dye to actually process, and that way it's nice and fresh for the next time that I want to use it, especially if, you know, you wanted to use that for anything else. Let's see, I can go ahead and kind of give my brows a brush through, and you can see if I come up close that, you know, basically I have a really nice color for me, like as a blonde, and then it is, you know, pretty defined. So now what I can do, so typically I know for me, like this is where I get the most sparse in terms of actual color. And so what I'll do normally in my morning routine then, when I have my brows tinted, is only if I feel like I need it, I'll grab like a medium or a light brow pencil and give myself a little bit of help like right in here. But the rest of this is nice and defined, and it's one less step. I will say that it stays kind of like this color probably for about 2 weeks, and then depending on how much like exfoliating face scrub or anything like that, you know, if you're really scrubbing at it, then the dye starts to come off of the skin underneath, and then, you know, by the 3rd week, it's just the hairs that are dyed, and you're probably going to fill it in with like a pencil or a brow powder, whatever, you know, you like to use most. So that is my helpful tip for DIY brow tint during quarantine times when we can't get to our favorite esthetician or salon or spa, day spa, to get them done. This is something that works really well for me. I love getting them done professionally when, if I go and get like a brow wax or anything like that, but this makes do while at home. So hopefully if you want to try this, you know, it's really cool if you do like a before and after picture to see what difference it really made. All right. So hope that helped, and everybody stay healthy.